Hey everybody, it's Monday, March 10th, 2014. Just wanted to update everybody about my Meniere's disease diagnosis that I got. Basically, where I left off was right before I started having symptoms. I didn't talk about a couple things that I was doing before that. One of the when I went to the doctor for my physical therapy for my neck and my arm and everything, what they prescribed me, as I'll show you, is they prescribed me Flexeril, which is basically a muscle relaxer. I never took it because I didn't feel like I needed to take it. I just kind of wanted to beat it with whatever was natural. Maybe I should have taken one. Maybe it would have helped out, but I also was using a lot of Icy Hot, which was phenomenal, which made the pain go away, of course, and until my physical therapy started. So that leaves until that, and just looking over here, there were a couple things that I did get. Well, I'll explain the symptoms that I was having. So, I was in my physical therapy. This was sometime in July of last year. It was probably maybe about third or fourth week in July. And, I had 3 different physical therapists. The first 2 were 2 women, and the second one was, or the third one was just a man, just regular guy. He was pretty rough with the physical therapy. Some of the things that he was doing is he rubbed my my upper back and around my neck really hard a lot, and I was able to take the pain. I've always been pretty easy to take the pain and everything. I had a high tolerance for pain, so he kept rubbing over there, rubbing over there, rubbing over there. That was one of the first things, actually, what he had me do was he had me do exercises with these bands where, if you see, you can, I had to hold the bands, and I had to pull the bands in and pull them out, and then pull them in and pull them out, and then again this way, in and out, and then essentially as I'm up, more for your triceps, up, down and up, down and up, down and up. So that was the start. That was basically like a warm up. Then he put the ice on and would massage with the ice, and then after that it was over to the hand bike. And the hand bike was basically a hand bike where you hold on to this and you're going like this with the hand bike. You have this motion, and that's when I noticed my first symptom, where I felt like, for whatever reason, I was going to fall off the bike. It just felt so off balance. I was like, whoa. I'm like, well, I just, felt off balance on the bike, so I had to stop. I'm like, all right, something's going on here. I had to stop. So I stopped, told him, I felt a little off balance, whatever's going on. Didn't have ringing in the ear at this point, which I do now. I've had it since September. I'm actually going to go see another ENT and a bunch of specialists just to try to figure out what's going on. So he said, all right, well, let's end it. I'm going to put heat on you, which I thought was actually, he put the electronic stim on me, and then which he put it on my back here, and then on my back there, and he had it ramped up to about 15 or so, which I kind of took it at that point because I thought this was normal, and whatever reason was happening, whatever reason it was, I didn't feel that bad, but it was like, I think it was a Friday when this first started happening, and I just went home and relaxed, whatever. Didn't go out really much during that weekend. Maybe went out to my favorite restaurant, and that was it. The other thing that he did was he put the heat on after the stims, and that was it. It was done. So went out to my favorite restaurant during that weekend, and then the next week was when everything really bad started happening. I was sitting at work, and all of a sudden, I just was working, and my head, not here, but like about over here, I felt a ton of pressure in my head, a ton of pressure, and I seriously felt like I was going to pass out. It got to the point where I would go to the bathroom, and not to sound too dirty, but I had to sit down to go to the bathroom. And as I'm sitting down and doing my business, I just still felt like so off balance, like I was just going to pass out and just fall forward or pass out or something. Couldn't figure out what was going on. Went to my desk and basically tried to sit down and do work, but I couldn't focus because I felt like I was going to pass out. So immediately, the first thing I started thinking was, oh my God, I have brain cancer. Or, oh my God, I hope I'm not having an aneurysm. My mother died of a brain aneurysm. My aunt, who just recently passed away, had brain cancer. This is both on my mother's side. Then on my father's side, my grandfather and great-grandmother both had dementia. So the first thing I'm thinking is, I have some sort of brain issue, or maybe I have a brain tumor. So I started looking things up, of course, online, symptoms, and they said, you feel sharp pains and blah, blah, blah. So I'm like, okay, well, I don't have it. I'm like, but no. And it just kept getting worse and worse, and I'm like, oh man, what is going on? So I immediately thought, maybe something with the allergy testing that I just had, maybe some allergy just got triggered off, such as dust mites or something. So got in my car, and one of the two things that happened were both my eyes turned extremely red, like bloodshot red. And then I also had a nosebleed in this nostril. I don't know if it was maybe it was this nostril. I don't know. I don't remember which nostril it was, but I had a nosebleed, and I haven't had a nosebleed since I was a kid. I used to have frequent nosebleeds when I was a kid. I used to go upstate New York, and the allergy basically, triggered off and gave me nosebleeds from all the trees and pollen and mildew and whatever it was upstate New York that was up there. So, I was concerned, of course. I got in my car. As soon as I got in my car, I started driving. I felt fine. I was like, this is weird. I feel fine. So, the next day came in, sort of had the same symptoms, had to get up a couple times to stand up, and one of my coworkers said to me, are you okay? You look like you're not okay. So is everything all right? And I just felt like I was all red, and my ears were red, and I felt like I was all flushed and red, like I couldn't handle it. So I said, yeah, no, I'm fine, whatever. So of course, and still in my mind, I'm thinking, oh my goodness, I still have some sort of brain cancer or brain tumor. And I started doing more research, and I said, maybe it's not that. Maybe I just have, low blood sugar. Maybe I need more blood sugar in me. So, the next few days, I was doing my workouts at the physical therapy place, and I explained everything to them, and they said, oh, well, this kind of stuff we're doing shouldn't cause anything that you have, and so they turned my neck one way, turned my neck another way to try to figure out. I told them about a little pain I was having in my back a little bit more, and the physical therapist did do one thing. I think this is maybe, I don't know, it was either before or after this happened. It was kind of like a trigger point. He said it was almost like a trigger. You have a gun, and basically, he put it in the back, and he kind of twisted, and and like that, just like a gun, shoot yourself in the back. I thought that felt great. I started feeling less symptoms in my neck and my back and everything. So I was like, all right, well, so that worked. Something's starting to get better. But so I continued on with the physical therapy. I continued to go to work. I still wasn't feeling right at work. I was struggling. Kept bringing a bag of Cheerios to work so I could eat in the morning, afternoon, and late afternoon. And I noticed my symptoms were more starting to come about 3 o'clock in the afternoon, which I just thought was kind of weird. I'm like, was this some kind of time thing that's triggering this off? Is this something about 3 o'clock that's triggering this off? I don't know. So, I kept doing my physical therapy, and this is the scary one that happened to me. So during the physical therapy, I was still having issues, and I lied down on my back, and I felt better. I fell asleep actually on my back. I'm not a person that normally falls asleep on my back. I fall asleep on my stomach all the time. Fell asleep on my back, and during the week I was taking this back aid, which seemed to work, and I was like, all right. I'm like, well, that's good. And then but then the next day, a couple days later, I was still having a feeling. So basically what I did was it was a Saturday, and I was like, all right, I'm like, well, maybe I just need to keep working out whatever this is in my back or my neck that's having problems. And so I was feeling a little tired. I was like, I'm a little tired. Let me get a 5-hour energy drink. Yeah, these are good, right? I used to love taking these. I used to love drinking these all the time. Maybe once during the day just to get myself going, or at night just to get myself going, or on the weekend just to get myself going. So, take a 5-hour energy drink. It's almost like within 5 minutes of taking this 5-hour energy drink that I have, I was working out, doing my physical therapy at home. They gave me a band to do, which was great for me to do at home. You see the door behind me over there. Basically, put the band in the door and was able to do it on a door. And within 5 minutes, I just started feeling really dizzy. I was not dizzy, but like I felt like I was gonna pass out. It's like, what is going on? Why do I feel like I'm gonna pass out? So I actually fell back and sat back on the couch, and tried to lie down a little bit. And at that point, my father, he lives around the area. I called him and I said, I don't feel right. Something's wrong. My heart's racing more, and I feel like I'm gonna pass out, and something's definitely wrong. And I thought about going to the hospital at that point. And I told him, look, I'm gonna get some stuff and bring it in the car, and stay over your place for a little bit. If I'm not getting any better, then we'll go to the hospital. So as I was driving, I was not even 3 miles down the road, I started feeling like, whoa, like things, like I was gonna pass out again. And then my heart really wasn't racing, but then all of a sudden both my arms just felt like pins and needles, because I was gonna pass out, and I just couldn't understand. And I was like, but my heart's not racing, this isn't a heart attack, but my arms feel like pins and needle. So I almost drove myself to the hospital, and I was like, no, I can make it to my father's house. I know I can. I'm just going to go there. Get to my father's house and, lie down on his couch and said, let's give it a couple hours and see how I'm doing. If I'm not feeling right still, I'm going to go ahead and, go to the hospital. So what I did was I grabbed an ice pack and put it on my back at that point. Stayed over at his house, fell asleep about, like 11 o'clock at night or so, and just stayed there and for the night, and said, okay. I'm like, this is a little scary. So then, the next day, told my dad, I said, maybe I want to try taking the Flexerol. So I went back to his house again and said, I'm going to take a Flexerol and stay at your house. The whole day I was there at his house, and he kept pushing me, take the Flexerol, you'll feel better, maybe you'll just get more relaxed more. I'm like, yeah, maybe that's a good idea. Never took it the whole night. I was afraid to take it. I just kept reading up about all the symptoms, about how it would feel after I take it, how I'm not going to move. I was just like, no, I don't really want to take this at all. This is muscle relaxer. I'm not going to take it. So, yeah. So basically, I didn't take it. I fell asleep at his house. I woke up the next morning. I had breakfast with him and my stepmother. And they kept saying, oh, you're stupid. You didn't take the Flexerol. So I went home at that point. And I realized that Monday I needed to make a doctor's appointment, so I did, and I went to the doctor's, told him what my symptoms were. He took my blood pressure, which was perfectly fine, of course. Took my blood, asked me if I had anything. I said basically Cheerios and Gatorade, that's it, in the morning. So he drew my blood, and I'm going to leave it at that for this, because there's a lot to talk about with the doctor's appointments that all came up, and I'm still doing doctor's appointments just to try to figure out if there's any underlying cause other than Meniere's disease, which somebody has basically told me Meniere's disease is their word for saying, we don't know what's wrong with you and we don't know how to fix you, so we're labeling you with Meniere's disease. Did have an interesting week though. Played 2 hockey games, have another one tomorrow, and possibly if we win tomorrow we have championship games Thursday and Sunday. Not only that, but I went to a 3D movie, which, I was talking about how my panic is. I'll talk about that more within the next 2 videos about what happened in what happened in the movie theaters and everything. But I survived. I survived. I was struggling a little bit, but I survived. Been going to that chiropractor. Not sure if he's helping. I have noticed a ringing in the ear. It's gotten a little bit more intense after the last 2 sessions, so I'm a little skeptical about going back there again. We'll see. And on top of that, this coming weekend, I have a trip planned to go to Boston, Massachusetts, which is going to be interesting. I'll be driving, which I've been perfectly fine driving, but what's going to concern me the most is I'm going to a concert, and thankfully it's standing room only, but with the loud noises, I made sure I got myself earplugs, so this way I'm not going to go deaf. And then, we're going to go see the Dropkick Murphys. And hopefully I survive the concert. I'm sure I will, but there's going to be a lot more loud noises. I've been to plenty of concerts and plenty of not really concerts in the past, but after this all happened, I've been to plenty of like little events and little in little places where I can hear music and everything, and it really hasn't bothered me. But it wasn't as crowded. Basically going up there to see Dropkick Murphys again at the House Blues, which will be pretty much crowded and insane. So this will be a very good test for me. So yeah, I'm already looking at other things with my doctors, and yeah, I'm looking at ENTs, dentists, acupuncture, an orthopedic doctor, because this could be neck related. Who knows? Another chiropractor that I started out with just in case. Also, last resort is going to be the neurologist, which I'll get into all those doctor's appointments that I had last year, and let's see what they discover this coming year. So that's that, and until next Monday, which I'll probably update you guys about my Boston trip. Hopefully everyone has a good week. I'll see you then.